Recently, I did a poll on my community tab asking you guys who is the better death metal frontman and why between Corpsegrinder, Jeff Becerra, and Chuck Schuldiner. And it was closer than you might think. With 235 votes, Chuck Schuldiner won with 56%, but Corpsegrinder clocked in at 41%, with Jeff Becerra only getting 3% of the vote. So my personal opinion on why this list played out that way is I was actually surprised with how close the poll ended up being between Chuck and Corpsegrinder. The reason I think Jeff clocked in so low is when you compare him to Corpsegrinder and Chuck, I think his overall presence as a frontman, not only in the social media way, but just in the cult of personality built around him, I think is far lesser. But if you compared him to other death metal frontmen, especially in the modern sphere, I think he'd kick their dicks in. But I can see a genuinely good argument between Corpsegrinder and Chuck. Chuck was like the father of this genre that brought it up and created so much of its imagery, of its style, of its pizzazz, of its sheer swagger. And I think Chuck, as a frontman, has the notion of that cult of personality built around him because of how he influenced and contributed to the greater death metal field. But the reason that I think Corpsegrinder can edge him out in a lot of people's minds clearly is the fact of, number one, I think it's a recency bias of the internet age, because Chuck Schuldiner, he didn't get the chance to be on a bunch of interviews and YouTube videos and having these funny little moments and things that make him more personable. And the other thing about Corpsegrinder is he is extremely connected to both fans and the online age, and the way that he approaches things is kind of the Will Ramos effect of just being a really fucking cool guy, really chill, very kind. And I'm not saying Chuck wasn't a nice guy, of course he was. He was tragically taken from us far sooner than he ever should have been, and everyone who ever talked about him said he was a fantastic person. But I think there's a big difference between having that influence and being a good person on the scene to Corpsegrinder's overall social media sort of cult empire that he has built up around him, where I think if you're talking modern death metal legends that are still living, I think Corpsegrinder would rank at the top every single time. And I think if it was Corpsegrinder versus Jeff, Corpsegrinder would wipe the fucking floor with Jeff, I would like to believe. Now, there is a big chance that a lot of the Chuck fans would go immediately to Jeff, considering they came around at the same time and both were like the forefathers of death metal that brought it up. But I think the reason that Chuck ended up winning is he had such a personality to him, and he had such a love from fans and his own band members alike and other bands. No one had a bad word to say about him, and he was always such a humble, fresh presence. And it warms my heart to see that after all of these years of Chuck being gone, he is still winning on a poll like this. It does make me smile. It does make me happy. And this has come from someone who's seen Cannibal Corpse live, love Cannibal Corpse, love Corpsegrinder, but I would give it to Chuck more. Now, in terms of live shows and in terms of like concert stuff, I think Corpsegrinder has an amazing presence, but Chuck, as much as Corpsegrinder is a fantastic live person, an interview person, I think Chuck edges him out even then too. Because if you look at Chuck and how he performed, he had that like thrash metal, speed metal energy, that early heavy metal energy to him. And that sort of vigorous, youthful exuberance isn't something that you can really get from Corpsegrinder. But that's just my personal opinion. For those of you guys that didn't see the poll, or if you just want to join the discussion on why you think this poll played out that way, let me know down in the comment section below what your opinions are of this. I can't wait to hear it. Be sure to like this video if you enjoyed it, subscribe to join the review family today, and smash that notification bell to be notified of my future uploads. You know who it is, my name is Jay Morris, and I'm signing off saying farewell.